Hi, I'm Dano Ibarra, President and CEO of JTech Medical. We have an e-learning course from overpaying to optimal savings, 3 key tax strategies with Don Rasmussen of Quartermaster Tax. Don is a certified tax coach and a seasoned tax reduction strategist who has worked with individuals, businesses, and charities around the U.S. for more than 36 years. He has guided them to make informed decisions, avoid costly mistakes, maximize their tax efficiency, lower their taxes, and find money falling through the cracks in their current tax planning. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Don, who will guide us through the 3 key tax strategies to keep you from overpaying taxes and get optimal savings. Don?
Yeah, Daniel, thank you so much for that introduction. Let me go ahead and get right into it because we're going to talk specifically about the opportunity with JTech. So let me move over here to my screen and we'll get started. So as you mentioned, we're going to talk about the 3 key tax strategies for utilizing JTech or equipment there to do exams and re-exams specifically. So there's 3 parts of the tax code that we're going to talk about today: Section 179, Section 44, and Section 41. So everything that I share with you today can be backed up with the Internal Revenue Code very easily. But first of all, Section 179, this is the accelerated depreciation that was passed under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act back in 2017, but went into effect 2018. And so currently, under the current tax structure, you are able to deduct up to 60%. Now that's 2024. Keep in mind, as I was sharing with you earlier, Dano, that the current legislation that is in the Senate that was passed overwhelmingly by the House is going to revert back to what it was in 22. So I'll talk about that here in a second. In 2023, if you haven't filed your tax returns, if you're on extension, keep in mind that's an 80% deduction of your expenses for the equipment at JTech. And then, of course, we go back to 22, it'll go back to 100%. Don't know when that's going to happen. We're hoping here the next 60 days here, now that we're in June of 2024. But again, time will tell about how quickly that will happen. Now, let me walk you through how that would work. So utilizing JTech, using the system here at $10,000. So what you'd be able to do is you're able to deduct 60% of that. So that would be a $6,000 deduction. Now, keep in mind, you don't forfeit the other $4,000. You're able to recognize that over the next 4 years. And so just to kind of make it real brief, but the whole idea behind the accelerated depreciation or the under Section 179 was you were accelerating that 5 years into 1 year. Now they're starting to trickle it back where you're still doing it over a 5-year period, but you're getting 60% in 2024 and the remaining of it's done over the next 4 years. So you don't lose that deduction, you're just not getting it all up front. And so in this case here, if you're in a 35% tax rate, whether that's state, federal, or a combination of the two, that's going to be about $2,100 savings. So your reality is you're only paying about $7,900 for this equipment. Very, very reasonable, but it gets better. So the next part of it is Section 44, which is the ADA credit. Same example, $10,000 system. You get a $5,000 credit. Now, the difference between a credit and a deduction is a credit is a dollar for dollar, meaning that ultimately the government's giving you $5,000 back for purchasing this equipment. And so now your out of pocket initially is going to be about $5,000, but then you're able to deduct the remaining $5,000. Again, there's that 60% limit that we have currently. So you're going to see about a $3,000 deduction today, the remaining $2,000 over the next 4 years. So in this particular example, at a 35% tax rate, you're going to save another $1,000 in taxes. So your total savings gets your investment down to about $3,950. You're saving 60% between the credit, the dollar for dollar credit, and then of course the Section 179. So a $10,000 piece of equipment really only costs you $3,950 under the current tax code, and it will, if they revert back to 100%, it'll even drop down more. So again, those are the 2 ones I wanted to talk right away. Now we're going to get a little bit more in depth about Section 41. Now this one here is the research and development tax credit. I've been doing this for many, many years. They made this available in 2015 for the medical industry, PTs, DCs, MDs. And so a lot of professionals don't believe they do research and development. But the reality is what you do Monday through Friday is what we look at, what you qualify for. So ultimately, what the IRS and the government is doing is they want to incentivize you to improve upon patient outcome. And why JTech is such a vital part of this is because the largest portion of that time is spent in doing exams and re-exams. So one last thing here is the good news is we can go back as far as 4 years, depending upon when you filed your taxes for 2020. So generally it's 3 years, but it could be as long as 4 years. And if you live in California, you're going to throw in another extra year there as well. So again, 20 is the furthest back we can go, 21, 22, 23. And we do the amended returns to make sure that you can capture all that. So as I was saying earlier, the exams at the beginning, so we have a patient coming in and determining what it is that's going on, whether there's a subluxation. And again, the technology that JTech provides allows you to be able to do that, to be able to do the assessment, to figure out what's going on. But that's the key. It's not about having JTech equipment, it's about utilization. So the more you utilize it, the more credit you're going to be entitled to. And so that's more money back from Uncle Sam that you're entitled to as long as you're utilizing the equipment. So doing a pre and a post exam. So you do the exam up front, then you do the treatments, the modalities, and you come back and do a re-exam. That's where we're able to show the IRS that there's been a trial and error process and there's been an improvement upon the patient outcome because you have it documented. And so keep that in mind that that's extremely important and why JTech is a vital part. And we've had many, many clients who utilize JTech that we have found some very large credits when we do that back study. And then you're eligible for that credit every year going forward as well. Now, also keep in mind that any modalities such as decompression, you have electric stem, laser, brain tap, these are qualified activities as well. So whether you, the doctor, you, the PT, you, the DC, or your CAs, your assistants are doing it, it's the time that's spent. And that's what I'm going to explain to you, because when we do the 4-part test, one of those is the trial and error process and the improvement upon the patient outcome. So the big thing here to keep in mind was for R&D, it is about 2 main factors: time spent and the wages of the personnel performing that activity, whether that's the assessment through JTech or the reassessment or the modalities or the treatment. Now, keep in mind that there is a minimum. You need to have a W-2 payroll if you're an S corporation or a C corporation of at least $200,000. If you are a Schedule C, a sole proprietor, it's your income as the sole proprietor plus your staff. It needs to be at least $200,000. But the reality is we found a lot of clients who have overpaid. Just some examples. Here's one for $26,000 for 2019. That's just for 1 year. And again, what they were doing is acute chronic pain and inflammation protocol and physical rehab protocol. Here's one for 21 that was $9,100. Again, TBI concussion, pediatric protocol, functional neurology, functional medicine protocol, $12,000 for a year, $40,000 for a year. And so the key here is we don't know until you do a study. And so we offer all the JTech folks that are watching, or if you're not a JTech customer, we offer this as a opportunity to have this assessment done at no cost. We actually have 2 chiropractors on our staff. We also have 3 tax attorneys, and we'll do this study absolutely free to determine if you're eligible. And if you are, then we'll explain to you how to go claim that and how we come up alongside you to do so. And then lastly, as you can see here, it's Quartermaster Tax Management powered by your CPA. We are not interested in becoming your tax preparer. Our goal is to help you keep more of what you make. And that's how we do it, through these different tax strategies we just talked about today, plus other things as well that we can have a conversation in the near future. So that's pretty much it, Dano. I just thought I'd just cover that real quickly, and then we'll go on from here.
Well, Don, thank you. That is so insightful. I had a couple quick questions.
Sure.
The first 2 tax credits we talked about used an example of a $10,000 JTech system. Can those tax credits be used on other chiropractic and maybe physical therapist equipment as well?
Yeah, the answer is yes. So Section 179 is for equipment for your business. It could be a piece of equipment, it could be a vehicle. Section 44, though, has some criteria. It has to be ADA compliant, meaning there's got to be a need for someone who's disabled. So, for example, let's say in the chiropractic space, a high-low table would be an example. That would be a qualified. Some lasers, because of how they're designed, we have one group that we work with that has one specifically for going out to nursing homes and things like that, that makes it a little bit more compliant with the ADA. So it really comes down to meeting the testing. And also on the ADA credit, it is limited to $10,000 in one particular year. So you can use it for two pieces of equipment, because you're capped out at $5,000 per piece of equipment.
Okay, so, and you actually jumped ahead of me there. My second question was, we use it as example 10,000. Is there a cap to any of these three tax credits or tax incentives we discussed?
Yeah, Section 44 is capped out at 5,250. So it's 50% of your purchase, and it could be a used piece of equipment. It doesn't have to be brand new, but 5,250. So 50% of the purchase price up to a maximum of 5,250.
Fantastic. And I understand that you have just implemented a new program that will be of great interest to everyone listening. Do you want to talk to us for a minute about that?
Yeah, so over the years, we've been doing research and development tax credits. We can control a lot of things, but what we can't control is the IRS. And so some of the feedback we've gotten from our clients is, hey, you know what? I love what y'all do, but I hate the uncertainty of how long it's going to take to get my money back from the IRS. And it can take anywhere from 9 to 12 months. Today, it used to be worse back during around COVID, but now it's about 9 to 12 months. So we actually have a partner relationship that has agreed to provide a quick cash option. So for those who go through our study and we determine they're eligible for a credit, from the date we file the return to the IRS, you'll have your money in 48 hours. So as compared to waiting 9 to 12 months, you can get it as quickly as 2 days.
Wow, Don, that's fantastic. It's also a testament to your confidence and your partner's confidence in these tax strategies that you just walked us through. That's amazing.
Yeah, because they're putting their money where their mouth is. They've reviewed, they've done their due diligence, they've seen every one of the deals that we've helped people with, all the credits, and they've realized that it's a very worthwhile credit and that there's a need out there. So.
Well, Don, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us. And I highly encourage you to reach out to Don for that free evaluation and let us know if we can be of any help as well. Of course, here at JTech, we're not tax experts. That's why we turn to people like Don, who's just incredible, been doing this for over 36 years. He's the one that you want to go to and send your tax accountant to so that they can actually get the insights as well.
Absolutely. And again, you can scan that QR code if you're interested in scheduling a call with one of our team members. Absolutely no cost for us to go and do the study, and then we'll figure out where we go from there. But again, thanks, Daniel, for inviting us to come on today, and we look forward to helping many, many JTech customers over the years.
Perfect. Thanks, Don.
Thank you, sir.